This podcast is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome back to the Cuckold Marriage Podcast. I'm Cuckoldress Lexie Meadows, and one of our favorite things about doing this show is the chance to talk with real couples who have taken cuckolding beyond the fantasy and into reality, couples who have figured out what it actually looks like inside their own relationship. And every couple we meet seems to have their own rules, their own boundaries, and their own reasons for loving this dynamic. Today, we're sitting down with another couple to hear their story. We're going to go all the way back to how this started for them, what those first conversations and experiences were like, and how their dynamic has evolved over time. We'll also get into what they look for in bowls, their favorite experiences, all the good stuff, denial, chastity, power dynamics, and stuff that they still want to explore. This is Her Rules, His Desire, inside their cuckold dynamic. But before we jump into today's conversation, I want to take a minute to invite you to join us over at Patreon. Our Patreon is where we're building a deeper community around the Cuckold Marriage Podcast, and we've put some really fun stuff together, some good benefits for our members. Depending on your tier, you can get access to Patreon-only episodes that you won't hear on the regular podcast, live chats with Chris and me, and if you join our inner circle, I'll even send you a personally autographed picture. More than anything, joining Patreon is one of the best ways you can directly support the show and help us continue growing and bringing on great guests and creating more content for this awesome community we have. You can find our Patreon, also check out my Fansly, or book a private chat with me all in one place at cuckoldresslexie.com. Thank you to everyone who's already joined us. Your support really does mean a lot to the both of us. So let's go ahead and get into it. Chris?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We are so excited to have Atlanta Kink Couple with us. And so we have Mr. and Temptress. Nice to be here with you. Thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much for having us. We're very excited.
Sounds good. We're excited to have you both on here. And I know this is not going to be a visual podcast, but I want to point out to all the men that is a great looking couple. Temptress is wearing a very exciting shirt right now that I told her before we started to record she should be wearing out to a lifestyle club. And she casually let me know that she wears it out pretty much, more casually than that, right?
Absolutely.
Which is awesome. And it looks so good on you.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
So why don't we start with just kind of the beginning? How did the two of you first discover cuckolding, and who was the first person to bring up the idea into the relationship?
So we were talking about this before we got on. We were reading through the questions you guys had sent over, and I think for our story we kind of have to sort of start a little further back than that, because our dynamics changed a lot over the last six years,
7 years, yeah.
And so I'm happy to get started. I mean, we met each other back in 2008. We started dating in 2012, got married in 2015. So known each other for a long time. But then it was right around COVID, 2020, when we first started kind of having some conversations about, desires and wants and sexuality and things like that. And, she's told me she was bisexual for a long time. And then I kind of came out as bisexual as well during that time. And I think one of the first things we ever did was we actually went and saw a dominatrix. And that was really, I took her to the dominatrix.
For me.
Yeah, it was for her.
So we went to see a dominatrix for me. So I kind of started submissive in the bedroom, wanting, BDSM, choking, hair pulling, all that good stuff that, I think a lot of people really enjoy. And we decided, and I'm a pain slut. I love a good flogging and a thump and, the heaviness of that and the feeling of that. And so as a treat for me, we went to see a dominatrix, and she kind of was walking him through how to dominate me. But it didn't quite click. I don't know whatever happened. It just didn't click, but we had a great time. So we went to see a dominatrix where Mr. was the submissive, and she and I double teamed him. And that was so much more fun. I really came into my power. I really felt like that was the role that I was meant to play, specifically with my partner. And it kind of exploded from there. So from there, we got into pegging. From pegging, we got into some bi threesomes, which was really fun. Then we did swinging for a little while, and then really came into the idea of hot wifing from there. And then from hot wifing into cuckolding is kind of the progression that happened, if you will.
So the first time was really, we had, like I said, we had played with a couple guys, and that would, we were both sort of in the submissive roles with the guy. And then one time I just told her, I said, hey, I think it'd be fun to just watch you with the guy, and I guess that was the first tiptoe into actual cuckolding, so we actually, somebody recommended somebody to us that a friend on dirty Twitter, as we like to call it, recommended one of her bulls, and we met with them and it clicked, and then we had a really fun time.
Yeah.
And then that's when it sort of, even then though, it was still just sort of a one-off, it didn't really turn into what it is now, but that I think we both really enjoy ourselves. And then throughout other exploring, there had been some chastity to it. And then eventually we settled on, if there is a bull, I am in chastity, like automatically, like it's not even a
Question.
conversation about
Yes.
it. So that's, and then we've expanded a little further than that, but I guess that, I'm sure you got other questions coming, but I think that's a good explanation of how we got here.
Yeah.
Wow, you covered almost all of the map on like a bingo card when it comes to like to lifestyle and fetishes and all that stuff. You all have done a lot. That's really cool. Your progression, and that's so interesting, Temptress, how you had that realization when you went into the dominatrix to be the submissive, and it was that experience that opened your eyes to your power. That's really fascinating. Wow, what a story.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys said that you started really talking about the, sexuality aspects and kind of exploring more during COVID. What did your relationship look like before you started exploring all this dynamic?
I mean, we've always had a great sex life. I mean, I was sort of an asshole as we were younger. I just wanted to, sleep with her and not commit, and we did that for a long time. And then, we got, like I said, we got together officially in 2012.
Yeah.
And then, been married since 2015. But I mean, it was, I thought, I could be speaking out of turn, but I thought we always had great sex.
Yeah. I call it Peter Pan syndrome. So he just didn't want to grow up for a while. And that's totally fine. We went off and did our own things and sowed our wild oats and then came back together like we were meant to be. And, before that we had a great sex life, just a vanilla one, we'd play around with this, that, the other, pull my hair or, choke me a little bit or, that kind of thing, but nothing super crazy. Until we really were locked in the house and had nothing else to talk about. And then we really started talking about sex, honestly, just like a lot of people. I think that was one positive thing that came out of the pandemic, is that the communication between partners was strengthened because you didn't have anybody else to talk to, right? And our communication became so much better during that time because we were probably drinking too much just like everybody else, but that helps, Veritas and in vino veritas and all that good stuff. And so, so that was kind of how we got around to that. Before that, though, I mean, we had great sex. It was just, it's a lot better now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people shared in that sort of pastime during COVID, getting more sexually adventurous and freaky with their partners. A lot of babies came out of COVID.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, agreed.
Yeah. So you had all these experiences and you talked about how you progressed and then you ended up that now where when there's a bull around, you're in chastity. Do you remember your first cuckold experience? And can you, if you could talk about that a little bit, and like, was it discussed before? Okay, I'm just going to watch, or was it more natural? What was that like? Because what I'm interested in is like kind of where you went from stag vixen to cuckoldress, or however you define your relationship.
Well, I mean, the first time it was just her, like I said earlier, just her and another man while I watched. That was the one we planned. And that was, that's something we wanted to try. And then it was, oh, that was a lot of fun. Let's do that again, and
that was before chastity though. So it was a discussion of, okay, are you going to sit in the corner and just watch this and see how you feel about it? And that was something that we had, seen on, and Twitter has a lot to do, X has a lot to do with some of this, right? Because you scroll it, you see things, you send each other memes, you send each other posts from other people that are inspirational. We definitely have some favorite accounts that we follow that it seems like we're constantly sending stuff back and forth to each other from those specific creators. And so we had seen that dynamic. We had tried the swinging thing. It just wasn't really for us. I just never really had a super positive experience with that. I had a lot of great girl on girl interactions, but as far as like male interactions, it just wasn't there for me.
I play a little role in that too. I mean, there's a couple of times where even if it's just me and her playing with each other, like in a sex club, I would have sort of performance anxiety, when it's just two of us at home, everything's fine. But, and then it turned into like, okay, if we go meet another couple and they're both interested in both of us, can I perform with the other wife while she has fun with the husband? And I got my head about some of that. And then it was like, well, maybe, it was never like a hard decision made to not do that. But I think we just both, once we sort of figured out there was another option where we're still having a lot of fun, it
took the pressure off.
Yeah, it took the pressure off and it just kind of clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's a very common experience there. What you're talking about with, performance issues at the sex club, that's a lot of pressure.
So much.
Like, I couldn't even imagine being a man and having to do that. I mean, like,
Well, actually, honey, I don't know if I ever told you this, but that actually happened to me the first time you and I went to a sex club.
oh,
So we haven't told this story on air yet, but so it was the first time that Lexie and I had gone to a sex club. And at the end of the night, somehow we made a decision to get one of the private rooms. So if you haven't been to a sex club, they often have private rooms that you can rent out as well. So we decided to rent out one of the bigger private rooms, and we decided we were going to let people watch us that night. So we weren't even going to be with anybody else that night. And so we invited back a single guy and like another couple that we had been hanging out with to watch us. And as I started with Lexie, all the pressure of like, a couple and like another guy watching, I was having issues. So I kind of I asked Lexie like mid when we were about to start, can I invite other people to join us in the bed? And she said yes. And that helped. My anxiety went away because then it became like a group thing.
Right.
And then they ended up just all focusing on Lexie and I was watching on a bench, which was the best part. But but yeah, so I get it. It is like terrifying. And like I'm really I had never had those issues in that kind of a club before, but it was scary with people watching. It is just scary.
mm-hmm. So what has been your favorite experience together so far, and what made that experience so special?
So we may have different answers. I don't know if his answer is the same as mine. But mine was Splash Mocha. So we did Splash Mocha in Orlando. What year was it?
Last summer?
Last
June.
2025?
Yeah.
And did the whole weekend. We had done a day pass for Atlanta just to check it out, kind of deal. But we did the whole weekend, stayed on property, did the whole 9, for Splash Mocha, and just the camaraderie there was so much fun. We made so many friends. We had so many like great connections with other couples, great connections with bulls, great connections with just everybody who was there. Didn't have a bad experience any way around it. We like jokingly the first night I made friends with 2 other wives, and we were the Dick sisters, and we ended up giving like a 3-way glory hole blowjob on the very first night, like the 3 of us all together, because we just were instant friends. There was just like a click that happened, and we ended up hanging out all weekend together, and recommending people to each other. And
last night we played with the other couple.
Oh yeah, and we played with another couple on the last night. So it was so much fun. I had such a fabulous experience on that because I enjoyed the other couples. I enjoyed the networking and the people that we meet there. We still talk to several of them. They'll reach out and be like, "Are you going to such and such? Are you going to such and such?" And that kind of thing. So I really enjoyed Splash Mocha. That was probably my absolute favorite so far. What about you?
Yeah, I mean that's probably. I mean, there's been a couple, times with a bull over where you've like really been in it, and it's been a lot of every now and then it's just like, oh yeah, this is what we want to do.
She doesn't know what her name is anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, there was one time one of her got here, she was dressed as a schoolgirl, and I literally saw her squirt like across the room, and that was a first for me, and that was a lot of fun. But just,
Yeah, it was.
we got to the point where there's a couple guys that we trust and that we just kind of have a good vibe with. And I just, anytime I know, for her, it's like, I feel like turning off her brain is the hardest part, And so whenever I know she's just like in the moment and just enjoying herself and not thinking about 20 other things, that makes me happy.
Absolutely.
Mister, I totally get that. Like that, you described it perfectly. I love it when Lexie gets lost in somebody else. And I love seeing her in so much pleasure and just, yeah, like you described, it's almost like she forgets that anything else is going on, even forgets that I exist, which is awesome. Like I want her having fun. So I mean, I fundamentally understand why you're saying that those are your favorite ones when she really enjoys herself. So, I do have a question. How much of your relationship, and especially the cuckolding part, is the physical versus kind of like the emotional, the psychological? Because to me, this is a very psychological kink. A lot of people call it like almost like BDSM of the mind. So how does that play out for y'all?
So we have an FLR. We have a contract in place. We officially printed it out on a printer like it was 1995 and signed that bad boy and everything. We have the running joke, it's with all of our important documents. So if we were to like die in a car wreck tomorrow, somebody will go through our stuff and be like, what the fuck is this? Which is really funny. But we, so with that, it spills over in that right now, the dynamic is that he's locked in default unless I say otherwise. So he is going to be locked unless I say he can't be. And right now he's free because we've had some stuff going on life-wise. But he'll go back in the cage probably tomorrow. And just because I want him to, not because there's any end goal necessarily, but just because I like it. And so psychologically, I think the threat of that, quote unquote, is really fun. I find the power trip just to be so just delicious. I love the power of it. I love being able to say, okay, we'll lock up after the gym. And then he has to do that. And that kind of thing. And he always says, he cracks me up because sometimes he's like, I'm not asking for it, but I kind of want it, but I'm not asking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was earlier, in the spring. I think I came to her one time and I said, look, I think that we're, it's out in the open, some of the things we enjoy doing. I said, but sometimes I feel like, we're doing it because I'm bringing it up. I'm like, hey, do you want to try this weekend or whatever? I said, the most exciting thing for me is you take full control over this. And like, we're doing this because you actively want to do it. Like my cards are out on the table, but now like, I don't want to be the driver of it. I want you to be the one that says, oh, this sounds like something I want to do or whatever. And so, a lot of conversations have gotten us to the point where literally just like 2 weeks ago is when she said, okay, I've been thinking about it. And I think at least for now, because we got some life stuff going on, but at least for now, your default state's going to be locked, as opposed to just, hey, you should lock up. Now the default state is you're locked until I tell you you're out. And so that was all driven by her.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all. So that was exciting to me that when we got to that point. But, I think, and we do a few other things, like if she puts her feet up in my lap, I have to rub them, which is what a good husband should do anyway. And then we do a thing in the morning, like when I'm locked, I kiss her feet in the morning
and say good morning, temptress.
But other than that, like it doesn't, like our household duties haven't changed. We still, although I've always done the laundry and I've always cleaned. It's just, because she cooks and I cannot cook for shit. So, we kind of have that dynamic. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm temptress now and you're my slave. Like, that isn't it's day-to-day life.
It's always been 50-50 and we just kind of left it that way because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, And so when we talked about the FLR, a lot of people talk about like, well, I want to do this or I'm going to do this or I have to clean this now for her, that kind of thing. We were so well kind of split down the middle already with household duties that we just kind of left it as it was. The big change is that, he's locked all the time. And so he can't come try to jump my bones in the middle of the day if he is so inclined. So
if I could go back to that. So we actually have a episode coming up in a couple of weeks with a panel of cuckoldresses that are going to be talking about chastity. But I just want to dig that a little bit deeper with you, Temptress. So what is it about that? Can you describe a little bit more about that power that it's just, I'd love to get into your head or Lexie's head and understand more why you what is it about that power? Because I know the other day Lexie said to me, I love controlling your orgasms. Like, I don't know what about it you like to control. Like, so maybe you can articulate it a little bit more. What is it about it that does it turn you on? Does it just make you feel powerful? Like, help us understand.
It's such a flip. So growing up, my experience growing up in the South, you're a girl. So you're supposed to be kind of meek and mild and, submissive and that kind of thing. And that's the dynamic. And so you're kind of lesser to a man in kind of culturally. And that's just kind of where that is accepted, and that is just what the norm is with that. And so to have it flipped where you're controlling the man, especially controlling orgasms, which are just like that. I mean, God, y'all's sexual desires run the world practically, let's be honest. And so to have complete control of your sexual desire, your ability to come, period, your ability to get erect, your ability to have an orgasm, your ability to have sex with anybody, not just me, that having that complete control is such a head rush of confidence. For whatever reason, it really just gives me confidence. I find myself kind of bouncing off the walls whenever he's locked because I'm like, I have complete control over that. Like I have full say over that. And so I think like coming from a woman's perspective, I think there's so many times in life where you're told you're less than, you're less than, you're less than. And there's so many examples of like, not to get super political on it, but like equal pay or like that kind of stuff or like, that kind of thing where we're almost second-class citizens. It's like the flip of being able to say, no, you don't get to come today. And if that's the one thing I can control, that makes me super happy and super excited.
That was so beautifully said.
Oh, thanks.
I agree entirely. And especially with that last part, I hadn't been able to really articulate it. But it's like that. It's, sometimes it just feels like we have to really fight to get the same career opportunities, get paid the same, be seen the same, be treated the same. Like it just a lot of ways in work and also just in everyday life. And so, yeah, it's kind of like us taking back some of that power that we've been denied.
Absolutely.
And it's so sweet.
Yeah. And it is. And and to know that the partner also loves it. As much as he protests, he doth protest too much. Let's be honest. He enjoys it. And it makes him so horny. It makes him so. My favorite thing is whenever it's been like a 3 or 4 day lockup and then I finally take it off. That man cannot get on me fast enough, and it is so much fun. Like it's like being teenagers again. It's like relocking your passion for each other because you have been denied. Like and you're denying yourself a little bit too. Let's be honest. As the cuckoldress, you're also denying yourself because if that's the only dick you have access to at the moment or the only one you can get over, because sometimes schedules just don't work out, then you're denying yourself. And then whenever he finally gets out, the two of you are so horny, you're ready to just like go crazy. And that is really fun too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, Mister, I'm sure you feel the same, but when you're out of it, it feels like you're freaking animal that got out of the zoo. It's like you're just so ready to go, right?
Yeah. It's like, hey, buddy, let's do this. You're free. Right.
So you've been thinking about it. But turning fantasy into reality takes more than curiosity. It takes direction. I work with couples and individuals to guide you through the conversations and dynamics that make a cuckolding relationship actually work. Those first conversations and introductions to your fantasy are especially critical. Done right, it changes everything. Done wrong, it can break it. If you're ready to do it the right way, book time with me at cuckoldresslexie.com.
So when you guys are looking for a bull or an outside partner, what kind of a man are you looking for? And conversely, what, well, so let's just start with that. What kind of a man are you looking for, and what qualities immediately grab your attention?
So I'm going to let her take this one because that's another thing that we've, as part of this change, is I used to sort of kind of run the accounts and be like, hey, what do you think about this guy or whatever? And now that's completely flipped too. She when people reach out on us, they're reaching out to her. And then if she's interested in somebody, then she pulls me into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say, what do
I'm
you guys
doing
look for?
So I'm
It's
doing
what do
the
you look for?
talking now.
Yeah.
I'm doing the vetting now. My number one thing is like, do not send me a one-word message. I cannot stand a hey. That's like my least,
Oh.
like, prove that especially on like SDC, prove that you read my profile, that you actually are interested, like prove that you have a brain behind your keyboard and that you read what our profile is, you saw what our dynamic is, because I can't stand someone who's like, hey, you're really sexy, what's you guys' dynamic? And I'm like, it clearly says cuckold in our profile, so you didn't read it. That's my number one thing. That's my like quick vet. That's the easiest way to just vet people out. I tend to look for more dominant guys. Somebody who's willing to come in and be, pretty dominant. We're experimenting with the dynamic of a bull that dominates both of us right now. I'm not sure how we feel about that yet, just to be dead honest. We're still trying to work that out. But there is also a respect level that they have to have for him. He's still my husband. It doesn't matter if he's in a tiny pink cock cage. He's still the man that I spend my entire life with, right? So you're not allowed to come in and disrespect him. You cannot, like, period. That'll get you nicked so fast it's not even funny. Like, blocked, done, out. And so I tend to look for more dominant guys, ones that can keep up conversations, ones that are intelligent, that can, use the right your or the right we're. I know that's like goofy, but it's a pet peeve of mine. And guys that are just more than like, hey, here's a dick pic. Genuinely have some great people who are in our corner that are in kind of rotation, if you will. I guess that's the best way to put it. Who like check in on us and are like, how are you guys doing? How's it going? Happy Friday, blah, 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 blah. And it's not just a booty call kind of deal. We don't ever want to have like a throuple situation or like a polyamorous thing or anything like that. This is all kind of, we always say it's always the whipped cream and cherry on top of an excellent sex life that we already have. But somebody who is a person too. It's not just like a dick attached to fingers on a keyboard. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, totally get it. I mean, are you the same way, honey, with the dating profiles when you see them? Like, what is the immediate, like, what's a green flag for you on those dating profiles?
Actually writing something on the profile, for one thing,
Mhm.
instead of just being like, if you want to know, just ask or hit me up. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Really? Like, no. But yeah, actually having a personality and being willing to show it and actually be courteous and at least feign some interest in me and not just be like, so can I experience that pussy or what? you know, just be a decent person. But yeah, so.
Yeah, and we do it the opposite way where I scroll through, and if I find a profile that I think that she would like, I show it to her, and then she takes over from there. So
Yeah.
it's
And
just
if
like,
someone likes me first, then he kind of somewhat knows my type. And so he'll, ignore ones that he's like, there's no way. And then the ones he's unsure about are the ones he's like, oh, Lexie like, then he'll show me those. And yeah, we like doing it that way.
yeah, there's just so damn many of them. I mean, I don't know how many like dicks and pictures of guys with fish that I've seen. Like, for God's sakes, guys. One of those two. So those are the green flags for a bull. What about the red flags? Like, is there something where you're like, you had already mentioned if they're mean to your husband. Is there something else where you're like, yeah, that's not the kind of bull that we want?
The one guy we like fully dropped that was sort of a regular. They played with a couple times. He just like, I guess he knew we were on Twitter. I guess he saw us post something else, like another video. and he like got super jealous and was like texting her about like being and like whoa, like nobody's getting jealous of of her sleeping with somebody else.
I got text messages like, I can't believe you replaced me so quickly. And what else was it? It was just craziness. And I was like, buddy, I'm not in middle school. This is not drama class. Like, we're not trying to like chill out. Like, I need you to calm down.
Well, it's just like, this is the only relationship there. Everything else is like,
he was treating me like I was his girlfriend. And I was like, that was never part of the deal. That is not the deal. That is not what we're looking for. That's not who we are. We've never ever made you think otherwise. So I don't know where all this is coming from. So that was like a huge red flag. 2-word answers, 1-word answers, like where I'm having to pull conversation out of you, like, no, thank you. That's a big red flag.
Another, do you mind?
Yeah.
There's another one. So we're pretty straight up on everything that like we're both bi, and that if there is a bi bull, that's like a bonus, but it's also nowhere near a guarantee. And so if anybody comes in and their first message is like very like homophobic, like, I'm interested, but I'm not even touching the guy. And like, we get it. Like, that's not a big deal. And then they like repeat themselves like 4 times. And I'm like, bro,
Then like, you didn't read our profile, because our profile clearly states that it is not a requirement for you to be bi, and that we're not like nixing people out just because they're not bi. Like, that's clearly not a deal breaker for us. It never has been. It never will be. But yeah, you get some like super homophobic like messages that are just like, well, I'm not touching a guy. I'm not about that. Blah, 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 blah. That, and it's like, okay, dude, we get it. Like, whatever. And then he'll just we had a couple people just carry on. And I was finally like, all right, this is done. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and reiterate myself 6 times. Like, I think we're good here, because after I've told you multiple times that like, it's not a deal breaker, it's fine, we're not expecting that, well, like, and you're not listening to me, like,
and like nobody in her rotation is bi right now either. So it's not like, I mean, that's a very rare occurrence. So it's just like,
yeah.
But like, I want to be upfront and put that on there, because the other thing we get is half the time we get people message us that say, well, I can't post that I'm bi, but I'm bi too, because I'm scared to be honest about it. And we're like, look, if people are going to ostracize us for that, for something that rarely ever even happens, like,
that's their loss.
Yeah. So they miss out on her.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you have experienced a lot of guys reaching out, just asking if Mr. can just not be involved, can like disappear. Cause like, I've seen that with like Lexie, where guys are like, yeah, I get that you're married, but I mean, he's not going to be around anywhere, right? Like, we're never going to see him. So they almost want to pretend like you're single. Have you seen that before, where they don't want to involve? I think it's a lot of folks who just don't understand our dynamic.
So that's a hard limit. We put that out very, very in the beginning of conversations, that our hard limit is that we don't play separately. We have a hard limit. He's always in the room. And we don't play separate at all. I don't go on dates. We don't do overnights. We don't do anything like that. And so we haven't encountered that. We've had some people block us and decide not to talk to us after that was the case. And that's their business. Like, if you're not into that, that's fine. That's up to you. But for the most part, we try to put that out there really early in the conversation so people know what's up.
Yeah, I think that's the difference of, I think that was one of the questions you guys, which I might be getting ahead of you, is, do you prefer a bull who's into couples, or just a random dude who's into her? And I think we've learned that we like prefer someone like experienced in the lifestyle, that knows exactly what this is and what this dynamic is. I mean, the guy that reaches out and says, hey, saw y'all's post, I love cuckold couples, I've been doing this for 10 years, I'm respectful, whatever, that's a big front of the line.
He gets a message back too, for sure, yeah. Like almost immediately. And we've had the best time with people who are experienced with couples or are open-minded to it. Because I think one of my bulls wasn't super experienced with couples. He was more in the stag vixen kind of world. And as we've evolved with him, he's evolved with us. And so it's been really fun. We've all kind of gone on this journey together. Where now we're getting into like sissification and potentially pegging him while the bull is fucking me, and like different stuff like that. That are like new scenarios that are open because we've gone on this journey together, which has been really nice.
Oh, that's very interesting. I love that for you guys. and that, it's not just been you as a couple that has evolved, but also the bull himself has evolved. That's a new one. I haven't heard that before. That's great.
Yeah.
So where does denial fit into your relationship? Is it something that you deliberately incorporate into the dynamic, or is it, something that is just kind of on a whim, and what does it add psychologically for both of you?
So I'll deliberately incorporate it if we have a scheduled bull coming over. Like, let's say somebody's coming over on like a Saturday night, right? So I will try to have him locked up like 4 days before that, so that the anticipation just grows and grows and grows and grows, and that he's having to sit there and think like, I'm in this cage because my wife's going to get fucked by somebody else, like for 4 days, basically. I really enjoy that dynamic. I think it's a lot of fun. I like sending him like dirty tweets the whole time while he's locked too, so that he has to like open dirty tweets while he's locked. And I like to mess.
Brutal.
Love
We
it.
really, yeah. I'm not as mean as I could be. There are some dominatrixes that will make you take a Viagra while you're locked up, and I
That's
haven't.
like my motto. I want that on a t-shirt. I'm not as mean as I could
I'm
be.
not as mean as I could be. Yes, absolutely, and you're all welcome. I'm not as mean as I could be, and you're all welcome.
Well, and we're
We
like
should
on
put that on a shirt.
Mhm.
That's going in the
Absolutely.
merch store. I love it.
Perfect.
well, we're like on like 2 or 3 of this default locked situation, and I really haven't been locked that much again because there's other things coming up. So it's again but like she gave me a weekend off even before a bunch of other stuff happened. So it's like she likes knowing she can have the power, but she's also at least for now she's kind.
I'm benevolent.
But yeah, benevolent.
Yeah, I'm
She's a
benevolent.
kind mistress.
Yeah.
Kind and fair.
Well, mine, I think that the denial is, it's one of those things. It's like it's hot, like the fantasy's hot, and then at the same time, it's like, well, when you're in it, it's really shitty, because you don't want to be denied. You want to be denied until you're being denied, and then you're like, well, no, I don't really want this. So, so there's like a lot of stuff that, like, again, she touched on it earlier. There's a lot of stuff that we've only ever tried out because we see couples doing it on Twitter. And then there's some things that like are probably more extreme than we ever really want to do, but it's still intriguing. But then you're like, okay, if I can barely handle 4 days in the cage, there's no way I'd be able to do anything crazier than that, So,
Which is a lie, because he's going to do Locktober this year, all 31 days.
Oh.
So don't let him.
I know.
we are
That
doing
man
that.
is doing Locktober.
The look on his face right now.
I know. It's
It's like oh shit, what did I sign up for?
it's really
Look.
scary, isn't it, man?
That's
Like, it's
right.
terrifying to think
Well,
about.
Our anniversary is in October. So like last year we did like a quasi Locktober with like we took a trip and like had a nice break, and she's like, nope,
And this year, there's no breaks.
nothing, no breaks.
No breaks.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All gas.
So I have a question though. So following up on that like denial piece. So after the scene is done, do you get to reclaim her? Is that part of your ritual?
It depends.
It depends. So it's
Yeah.
not it's not always.
Not automatic. His number one rule is clean up. So he always has to clean up, period.
Mhm.
And then sometimes he gets to reclaim, sometimes he stays locked. It depends on what I'm feeling like in that mood and how many bulls we have that scheduled for the week and a couple other, factors that way.
I think we did our first ever like 2 guys playing in like a 5-day span with no break in between, with just no relief for me in between, and that was
Yeah.
that was
Holy
wild.
crap. That's
Yeah.
that's I've been there, dude, and like that's hard.
It's
That's
tough.
hard. Why do you two do that to? Why do you do that to us, Lexie?
Because it's fun. Duh.
Yeah, it is.
Hillary said
Yeah, I'm
that
not gonna lie.
exact same time.
We said it at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's fun on our side too. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, Mister. Like it's torture, but it's super fucking fun at the same time. It's so being a cuck is so hard to describe. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if there's.
Well, it's like, everything that we've done up to this point, I mean, I've asked for, I mean, she's driving it now, but like none of this we'd be doing if I had been like, hey, I'd be interested in that. So then to turn around and be like, I hate this. It's like, well, no, this was my, so of course there's times it sucks, but of course it's something that, the whole dynamic is fun.
There's a lot of quoting of like, you did this, you asked for this, remember you asked for this.
and it's not even October yet.
And it's not even October yet.
Yeah. So what's on your bucket list then? You've done so much already. I know that you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned pegging while you're also taking it. Is there anything else, like any trips, any like events that you want to go to, any like kind of guy you're looking to find? What's on your bucket list?
So we're headed to Cuckoldress in
Oh,
October.
you're going to Cuckoldress, Blonde on the Bay and Shawn Michaels. Yes, event.
Wow.
So we are headed to that in October. We're all paid up and ready to go.
We'll literally be flying out to Vegas on October 1st.
So he has to go through security and then lock and then stay locked for 31 days.
Oh, that you see,
Do you want me to walk in the
Blonde on the Bay and
airport
Shawn
now, or-
Michaels timed this to go with Locktober. So
Yeah.
like it's just going to be brutal because it's a house full of bulls and then couples and the husbands are all locked. So if you haven't registered yet, it's in Las Vegas the first weekend of October. And I think the email is cuckutopia@gmail.com. So definitely check that out, folks. If you haven't yet, I think they still have some seats left, but I think they're going fast.
They are going quick. They are still looking for couples and both the last time I checked. So last time we saw in the group, they were looking for both still. But it's going to be less than 50 couples in a, really intimate setting. And we're all couples. They're interviewing people beforehand and everything. So there is a vetting process. And they are making sure that it's just a really good group of like-minded individuals that are going to enjoy themselves for that weekend. So we're super excited about that. Something else in Vegas that I really want to do one day is, have you guys seen the Mile High plane?
Yes,
No?
I
Okay.
have. You can rent it out and
You
you
can
get to
rent out a
have
plane.
sex in the air.
And you have sex in the air. And then for like an additional $50, it can be 3 people.
Oh,
So you can
really?
cuck in the sky. Yes. You could cuck in the sky. How fun is that, right?
Get
That's
cucked
pretty
in the
fun.
sky. Has anybody ever been cucked in the sky yet? Would this be I haven't heard of any.
I'm assuming that other people have had this idea. And that might be why there's the
Somebody
3
has
people
this
option.
idea because they have like a pricing like for it. So like
Yeah.
somebody somewhere has had this idea. That and then the other piece that we're talking about is Mr. really likes the idea of being a chauffeur and us going at it in the back. We haven't done that one yet. Pick somebody up and drive around and
And then
be in the car.
believe it or not, she's never been with 2 other men at the same time. She's been with
No.
another guy and me at the same time, but she's never been with 2 other men with me watching.
Just me with 2 bulls.
And that's
So
something
we
that
haven't
we'd like
done
to
that
do.
yet either. And that is on the list. That's coming up. I think pretty soon we'll have it figured out.
And if it doesn't happen here, it'll happen in Cuckoldtopia. Let's be
Yes.
honest.
Probably.
That's true.
That is true. It's gonna get done either way, and it's super fun. By the way, when she has 2 other guys, it's really fun to watch.
Nice.
All right, guys. So how can our listeners find you?
Yeah, so we have I guess it's called X now, but we still call it Twitter. We have a X account, and we are at Atlanta Kink CPL. So that's abbreviation for couple, at Atlanta Kink CPL. And then there's a link to our OnlyFans on there. But our OnlyFans, let me pull it up real quick, is the actual handle is at ATLKinkCpl. So the Twitter one is Atlanta spelled out, but then the OnlyFans is just ATL. So at Atlanta Kink Couple.
Yeah, and we'll put that in the show notes. Just make sure to
I'll send it to
if
you.
you could send me a message with those, that would be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We've been doing it a while. We got like 29,000 Twitter followers. So we've been when we first got into all this in 2020, 2021 is when we first started the account.
We were super excited to hit like 500. We couldn't believe it. We were like, oh my God, 500 people like us. And now it's just exploded from there. But
Yeah.
I'm on OnlyFans daily. I chat with people regularly. We do customs, we do all kind of stuff, but I'm more than happy to get on there and chat back and forth with people. I always like meeting new people and seeing what they're all about. So yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, we have some listener questions that people have written in, and we want to get your opinion on them as well. So this first one is from San Diego. He says, my wife is interested in cuckolding, but she says she doesn't want me involved in choosing the guys she sees. Is giving her that independence healthy for the dynamic, or should choosing bulls always be something we do together? So I think that she should. I mean, she's the freaking cuckoldress. So what she says goes. What she decides is how it should be. If she wants complete independence in choosing her guys, why should she not have that?
Yeah, I agree with that statement. And at the beginning, I get it. This listener who's writing in, I understand. Because at the beginning, I wanted to be more involved with that process of picking the guys. It's just that, it's just that control nature within you as a cuck where you kind of want to write the script and you have it and in your head what the guy's going to look like, who's going to be with her or whatever, And yeah, but I think that giving that control up, and especially when you're out by yourself and I'm not even there, I mean, that's the best because when you choose the guy, you actually enjoy the guy. So yes, if you want a good cuck experience and the woman wants you to choose, wants to choose herself, let her. Now, a lot of times they don't want to because the dating apps are a freaking hassle for women.
They're overwhelming.
They're overwhelming. They get 200
really
likes a day. And so if your woman wants you to go through and scroll through and do an initial scrub, like I often do, like that's a good job for you, cuck.
Yeah.
But picking out the actual dude, like leave that up to the woman, if that's what she wants. Well, what do you all say?
I mean, I think it's a communication thing, right? So set some ground rules. Let her have the independence, but also if you have some like hard things like I don't like this, I don't want this, I don't, that kind of thing, have that conversation and say like, hey, like I'm happy with you vetting guys. These are some hard stops for me though. Like maybe he doesn't like tattoos, maybe he doesn't like, somebody overweight, maybe he doesn't, depending on what he's got in his head. Give her some parameters and see what she thinks. Don't be disappointed if she yucks your yum though. Cause she might yuck your yum. You guys might just have different opinions and dudes. But I think it's a conversation to be had before you get all in your head with cuck angst about what she gonna do, what she gonna pick. I think you have a conversation about the hard limits and then kind of go from there.
I mean, obviously we've settled on the dynamic where she picks the guy.
I do it.
She's actually surprised me with a few of her picks too. Not good or bad, just being like, oh, she's interested. So I think it's actually been a lot of fun to let her pick and choose because I learn a little more about kind of what turns her on as well. So, I think depends on the couple, I guess. But if you're new to it, you better get used to being uncomfortable about things. So maybe let her pick the guy.
Yeah, agreed. All right, next one is from Buffalo, New York. I love denial and fantasy, but when my wife actually denies me after she's been with someone else, the emotions can get intense. How do you tell the difference between the kind of angst that makes cuckolding exciting and something you genuinely need to talk about? This is definitely going to go straight to you.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. So what's interesting is that this listener says that when the denial happens after she's been with somebody is when the angst goes up. I find that it's after the release. So after you're out of the cage and after you've had a chance to have reclamation sex or reconnecting sex or whatever, that's where you have the hormonal drop and you have the post-nut clarity. Normally when you're in chastity, I mean, you could get, I could see the person getting sad, but not angsty. So maybe the words that this listener used are throwing me off a bit. But anytime you feel like you should talk to your partner about something is when you should talk to your partner about something. So if you have that thought, I wonder if I should bring this up or if I shouldn't, bring it up. Because if you don't, it'll just fester. And in this lifestyle, the woman will assume that you're fine. Like, unless you say something, they know that as cucks, we like the teasing. We, a lot of cucks like the humiliation or the torture or that kind of stuff. Again, it's like mental BDSM. So the cuckoldress is going to push it as far as you let her push it. And so if something is going off the rails, you got to bring it up. That's my take.
Agree. What about you?
Communication is key. I mean, you can't have a cuck relationship without communication, right? It just doesn't work. You're going to turn into a bunch of jealous, crazy, teenagers acting if you don't keep the line open between each other. And I think it's a gut thing, honestly. I think, like exactly what you said, if you think you should talk to her about it, you need to talk to her about it. And make sure you use me and I statements. Don't put blame on her. So say, I feel when you deny me, it makes me feel this way. Make sure you put it on you because it is how you're feeling. And she probably has no idea that that's how you feel. And so just try to avoid language that's going to blame her or turn it onto her. Make sure you use I and me statements whenever you speak with her about that. But I think that that's a really healthy, evolution to say like, hey, I really do need reclaiming sex after you've been with someone else. Like, denial is great every other time, but this is really something that is essential for me. I think that that's a super fair conversation to bring up to her.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, for us, I mean, obviously we're a unique, everyone's unique, but like for us, we have our relationships, we're pretty lovey-dovey and like kind of gross just all the time. And so it's, I could be locked up, but she could have just, had sex with a bull. And then as long as she's like still flirty with me, like the rest of the night or the next day, and like our vibes are the same, then I'm not worried about it. I think anytime I ever get any angsty is like, if I feel like a distance from her and that other stuff is going on, that's when it's more, it's way less a sex thing and more like, almost like, if you think, oh, is my wife mad at me for something else? I think that's when it's sort of, that's the only time I've ever really had issues when it's like, and maybe it has nothing to do with it. Maybe she's had a bad day at work or something. But like, I guess, I don't know. So I guess I'm not really answering the question, his exact scenario, but I mean, I just think for us, it's, yeah, I do agree. Bring it up if you have any issues, but like if the relationship itself is if the dynamics, what you guys settled on, because sometimes it is, you have sex with a guy and then tease the shit out of me about it even the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're on the same page on that, that's fine. But anytime if it just feels off, you guys should talk about it. I mean, that should be the ground rule no matter what.
And not for nothing, she might be tired. She may just have post-nut clarity herself, to be honest with you. And she may just be like, I don't want anything else going inside of me anymore right now. And that's not a knock on you. That's just because she's tired, Sometimes we're just kind of spent after being with a bull. And that's not a knock on you. That's just the circumstance. So, try to take it with a grain of salt, but then also, trust your gut. If you think you need to talk to her for sure.
I totally feel that.
Mhm.
I mean, and I feel like when Lexie's exhausted, like I'm actually kind of thankful for the denial and the chat, because I mean, before we did that, it would be like 4 times immediately right after. I mean, I was like an animal for you. So you probably got very tired, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, well, a huge thank you to Atlanta Kink Couple for being willing to come on and share your story with us and give us such an open look into your relationship. It's such a unique story. I really enjoyed how it's just the dominatrix part really got me of your story, where you went to the dominatrix for you, Temptress, and came out being that Mr. was what ended up being the submissive. I just think that's such an interesting way to actually unlock and understand the power exchange and power dynamic. So thank you for being so willing to be open with us today. We really appreciate it. Thanks
Yes,
for being
we
with
do.
us.
Of course.
This
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Do want to let all of our listeners know that both Lexie and I started X accounts recently. They're brand new, so we have like no followers yet, and we don't know what the hell we're doing because I haven't used that thing in frickin' forever.
Same.
So anyways, if you want to find us, it's super easy to find us. Just go to Lexie's website, cuckoldresslexie.com, and there's a little like X link at the bottom and you'll find Lexie on there. I think yours is Lexie Meadows, all one word, and then 777.
Mhm.
Lexie Meadows 777 is hers, and mine is Chris S. Meadows. So there's an extra S in there after Chris for Shane. So Chris S. Meadows. So go to that one and go to Lexie's, and please follow us, and that way we can have some followers and not feel so lonely. But thank you to everybody who does follow us on all of our other platforms and on all of that as well. And thank you for being with us today. So until next time, Lexie, you want to say bye to everybody?
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.